Hello there, Mia Grady here with a look at what's making headlines in Houston, starting with Houston community groups pressing city leaders to help a crime witness now in ICE custody. The man called police after witnessing a shooting outside a Southwest Side Home Depot and was later detained. As Troy Kless reports, advocates say there may be a legal path to keep him in the U.S.
1 out of every 10 Houstonians is undocumented.
Several minutes of Houston City Council was spent discussing the case of ICE detaining a man who witnessed a shooting. Cesar Espinoza with VL Houston telling reporters their demands to City Council.
He was the witness of a crime, of a violent crime committed in our streets. So the least that City Council and Mr. Mayor Whitmire can do is to push HPD, their own department, to ask for a U visa certification for him.
Espinoza says Juan Francisco Monroy Turoy, the 54-year-old from Guatemala, is supporting his family back home, a family worried about what could happen next.
And so it was a really difficult conversation to have. And at the end of the day, we have to have these conversations with hundreds of people in the city who get caught up by ICE every day.
Councilmember Alejandra Salinas believing that Houston's policy of working with immigration enforcement should be revisited.
As you noted, right now it is HPD policy that if someone calls to report a crime, they are calling ICE. And that is a mandatory policy coming from the city. It is very unfortunate, and we absolutely need to revisit it.
Groups also have concerns that other people who may be undocumented may be fearful of reporting crimes. VL says the man remains in ICE custody. Attorney Randall Callanan also believes that HPD allowing ICE to detain people after their investigation is complete violates Fourth Amendment rights.
We should not punish good Samaritans for reporting crimes.
That was Troy Kless reporting for us. Now to electric planes in the area. Test flights, they are now underway. Amanda Henderson went to the Galveston airport for a behind-the-scenes look at this new technology before it officially takes off.
You got a turboprop and a Bonanza, got a Piper M350, a Cirrus, and then a 172 maybe.
Director Mike Shahan of Galveston's Scholes Field International Airport.
It's an R-44 Robinson.
But it's not an aircraft Shahan is taking us to see.
They come in, they scan the code.
Rather, an electric plane charger.
Put the credit card information in, and it's electric wheel, and you just push the button, pull it out, plug it in, let it charge, then you just reel it back in.
The first of its kind in the state of Texas.
So you think this could open up a whole new network for aviation?
Oh, well, yeah, it will.
Historically, helicopters and planes need fuel to fly, but not this plane by Beta Technologies. The company is now working with Shahan and Scholes to soon test an electric plane in Galveston.
It's a lot of innovation going on.
And you guys are going to be on the front lines of it all.
Well, we're our little small part of it.
Shahan tells us with one full charge, a plane can fly up to 300 miles.
The flight testing will be between Galveston up to Sugar Land and Brenham, Texas. Basically, they're trying to work out all the kinks.
I was going to say, we can't ignore the smile you have. You're pretty excited.
When I first started hearing about electric aircraft, this was, probably 15 years ago. It was like, yeah, probably not in my lifetime. Well, it's here.
And it's an experience Shahan hopes to share.
I like to say we've got one of the best observation decks in Texas.
A free on-site location with benches and tables overlooking the runway.
They need to come out and check out the big electric airplane.
You can see this test program flying in Galveston for the next few weeks, and Shahan hopes it will lead to a full-time electric plane at their airport within the next 5 years. In Galveston, I'm Amanda Henderson, KHOU 11 News.
The future is now in Galveston. Amanda, thank you. Folks living in Houston's historic 6th Ward are fighting a proposed gas station and convenience store to be built right next to homes. The property at the corner of Washington Avenue and Silver Street is under development, but residents are concerned about potential fire code violations. Troy Kless spoke to a Houston City Council member and looked into the possible changes coming.
A historic Houston neighborhood is facing a modern-day fight.
I think there are about 200 old houses here. Most are 1880s. Mine's 1862.
Julie Tobey, who lives on Decatur Street, has an 8-foot fence, which would potentially be the only physical barrier between her and a gas station.
You're not supposed to have gas being loaded into the tanks or loaded into a car within 300 feet of people or flames because of fire.
The thought of fumes from gasoline interacting with an open flame nearby.
We're pretty much horrified.
It's why Toubé and her neighbors formed a group to stop the gas station in 6th Ward. Their efforts caught the attention of Houston City Council. With the mayor's support, Councilmember Mario Castillo and his colleagues are now drafting an ordinance in honor of a 6th Ward resident.
Joe Bailey, unfortunately, suddenly passed away a couple weeks ago. But his diligence and his thoroughness in examining the fire code, storing a combustible material and dispensing that fairly close proximity to very historic structures.
Developers can also meet minimum city parking requirements by counting the pumps as parking spots, a loophole that Castillo says is under review. KHOU 11 has called the property owner for comment, and we're waiting to hear back. The noise, lighting, and public safety concerns also worry Toubé.
Because it destroys our quality of life, which the nature of this neighborhood is what attracted so many of us, people, all kinds of people.
Some city council members are considering possible ordinance changes to tighten regulations around gas station construction. Those could be presented later this year. In Houston, Troy Kless, KHOU 11 News.
The Heights continues to attract new businesses to the popular neighborhood that has no shortage of great restaurants and bars. Now Terry Black's Barbecue is joining the mix, bringing its Michelin-rated Texas barbecue to the area from Austin. And as Brianna Berry shows us, customers were ready to dig in on opening day.
We got the chopped beef sandwich and the pork ribs.
Twin brothers Kaysen and Camden were surprised by their mom with a trip to Terry Black's after football practice. Just in time for the grand opening of the barbecue restaurant's newest Houston location.
The pork ribs are amazing.
They've been to the original location in the Austin area, but say they like this one even better.
I think this one's more modern. I kind of like this one better.
And they weren't the only ones ready to dig in.
We had people getting in line around 8 o'clock this morning.
Terry Black's is bringing its Texas barbecue roots from Austin to the Heights with a 5-block setup designed to keep the line moving and the meat slicing. All that meat means a lot of prep. That starts with their 6 1,000-gallon pits and 1 2,000-gallon rotisserie, where the meat undergoes a 3-day process before landing on your tray.
We have a fully immersive experience. You walk in the front door and here we are cooking in our pits. We'll invite you in, we'll give you a pit tour.
And when he says pit tours, he means it. You step right inside, but I'll warn you, as you can tell, it is hot. We're talking at this hour, 125 degrees. These pits are running for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It is nonstop. Luckily though, after the tour, only a couple of minutes where you get back in line and you're headed back into the AC.
And if all that heat works up an appetite, Robert has a recommendation.
It's the Holy Trinity. So it's going to be a little bit of brisket, a little bit of sausage, a little bit of our pork ribs.
And don't forget the sides. A Texas barbecue tradition now serving up the Heights with plenty of ribs, brisket, and Southern hospitality to go around. In the Heights, Brianna Berry, KHOU 11 News.
Terry Black's is a vibe in addition to serving up good Q. I think they'll fit right in the Heights. Welcome to the neighborhood. And with that, that's a wrap of your Houston headlines. I'm Mia Gradney.
I'm Cynthia Izaguirre in Dallas with a look at what's making headlines in North Texas. Officials just laid out a new plan to keep children safe inside the classroom, part of new fallout from recent misconduct allegations against several teachers in North Texas. As Aaron Heft reports, local and federal officials are addressing systemic failures that go beyond any one district.
Addressing systemic failures as well as endangering children, both state and federal officials met in Dallas today to announce a new initiative.
The culture of silence surrounding misconduct in North Texas public schools is over. Today we're announcing Project Safe Schools,
a movement towards transparency and accountability to keep children safe inside their classrooms.
Some districts have even engaged in what is referred to as passing the trash, quietly moving educators with known misconduct issues to new campuses or new districts where they hurt other children.
The U.S. Attorney's Office, FBI, Texas DPS, Kaufman County DA, the TEA, and others announcing change has arrived. Addressing the problem is statewide, and then zeroing in on our recent reporting in the charges of both a former elementary principal and special education teacher at Forney ISD.
Both individuals, as alleged in the complaint, falsified hiring documents and concealed repeated allegations of abuse. These are not allegations of negligence. They are allegations of deception.
We believe that there are more victims out there.
The panel addressing systematic failures by administrators to do their job in reporting, investigating, and mitigating the harm of children.
When it comes to protecting children, I believe all of us can agree that this is a state, local, and a federal issue.
Local, state, and federal offices now asking for voluntary self-disclosure in all districts across the state. And if a district fails to do so, looming punishment awaits.
Voluntary disclosure matters if our office uncovers concealment, delay, failure to report. There will be severe consequences associated with that.
The U.S. Attorney explaining that he is under direct order from both President Donald Trump as well as General Blanche to be the tip of the spear in both state and local law enforcement. In Dallas, I'm Erin Heft.
We're just over 5 weeks away from the State Fair of Texas, and now we're getting our first look at some of the new food. And as Luke Clary reports, vendors are hoping lower prices to get in, and park could mean more customers this fall.
I would go straight in.
A State Fair of Texas classic. Fletcher's Corny Dog now does dessert.
This batter can literally fry or cook anything. And there was the birth of the chocolate corny dog.
Best taste sweet goes to the Fletcher's Chocolate Corny Dog, y'all.
It won the Big Tex Choice Award in the sweet category.
This is $7. I think it's the cheapest Big Tex finalist ever.
Influencers, now among the judges,
Well, hopefully in the next few days I'll get 25K on Instagram.
considering best value as they make their picks.
That looks good. I feel like in this economy, people are looking for a deal.
It comes after State Fair attendance reached its lowest point in a decade last year. A major complaint, it's getting too expensive. Organizers say they're listening and cut the cost of parking and admission.
Tickets are now $10 for kids between the ages of 3 and 12. They've knocked $2 off all adult tickets, which now range in price between $10 and $25. And it's $10 for anybody coming in after 5, Monday through Thursday. Do those price adjustments go far enough?
I hope they do. I really hope they do. And we want to make sure that the fair is a place where all people feel welcome. And that means so many things. And that can include through the affordability of the fair and of the value of the experience at the end of the day.
Berry Mean Matcha Cheesecake.
Vendors set their own prices.
15 coupons, yes.
Many telling us they're working on bringing them down.
We understand the economic. We want everybody to try it. We're not trying to price gouge.
After more than 80 years at the fair,
Smooth melting chocolate fudge.
Fletcher's hoping families can afford to keep coming back. In Dallas, I'm Luke Clary.
Some of your favorite childhood characters probably live in the pages of a book, but one North Texas author is using her stories to help children see themselves in the books they read. Daybreak's Janelle Ford has her story in today's Up in 60.
This is Lil Marco and his friends. They've got books, their own clothing line, plushies, and apparently their own room in Princeton, Texas. Well, technically, it's Sharon Jones-Scaife's writer's room.
I print my own books, and I illustrate here.
A graphic designer by trade, Sharon creates all of their adventures right here in North Texas.
Which one came first? This one came first. I Miss You, Papa. My husband passed away in 2015 from lung cancer, and I was looking for a book to help my grandkids deal with grief, and I couldn't find one. So the Lord just placed on my heart to write my first book.
One book became 12 storybooks plus 16 coloring and activity books.
All of my characters are my kids, grandkids, nieces, and nephews. And Little Marco is my favorite.
And as a literacy advocate, Sharon believes part of getting kids to read is giving them characters they can actually relate to.
There are more books that feature animals than visible minorities, and only 10% of children's books feature Black characters. So representation means a lot to me.
Now her readers help write the to-do list.
If people ask me, say, hey, do you have a book on hair? Give me a couple months, I'll have it. If you got dance, give me a couple months, I'll have it.
And that one I have the activity book as well.
Most weekends, you'll find Sharon selling those books at the Dallas Farmers Market or reading them at community events and pop-ups.
I just love what I do.
And that's your Up in 60.
He's been a father for just 6 months, and already he's fighting just to have the chance to watch his son grow up. A first-time dad in Justin is battling an aggressive form of brain cancer, and now he and his family are hoping for a miracle that could give him more time with his baby boy. Here's Sean Giggy.
Go see Mom.
27-year-old Shannon Weimers of Justin had only been a father for 6 months.
Yay! Good job, Lincoln!
When he found out he might only have a few more months to live.
Yeah.
Back in February, soon after Lincoln was born, this twice-deployed reserve airman was diagnosed with an aggressive form of brain cancer.
It was pretty devastating, and the first thing I thought about was my family and that I needed to be here to support them.
One morning it's the best thing ever, and the next it's like, what does tomorrow hold?
On average, people with his diagnosis have about a year to live. But because he's young and active, doctors say Shannon's odds are greater. Although, all they can really do is try to limit the spread.
However, there is a cutting-edge treatment that has shown real promise toward curing brain cancer. The only problem, it's in Germany, and it costs nearly $100,000. Money they simply don't have.
We're gonna do whatever it takes to get him there and get those vaccines.
And we're fighting for the best possible way to be here, to see him grow up, to graduate, to be there for him.
That's why they started a crowdfunding campaign to cover the cost.
It is cutting edge.
They remain hopeful, but say they've already been blessed.
Honestly, we have just been in awe.
In fact, Shannon believes he was chosen to have cancer.
I'm strong, I can handle it, and I can show others that if I can do it, you can too.
What motivates him, however, isn't what's spreading through his brain, but rather what fills his heart.
I need to be a father figure for my son, to show him how to treat people, how to grow up in a world that's not so kind, and to be that light.
A light for others.
Good job.
Like father, like son. In Justin, I'm Sean Giggy.
And those are your headlines from North Texas.
Well, Texas weather, more than anything else, will be dominated by the upper-level dome of high pressure that is parked over Texas and Oklahoma, giving us triple-digit heat for most of Texas as we head through the middle and latter part of this week. We might see the center of that dome slowly sag off to the desert southwest going into Thursday, but Texas is still close enough to be completely under the influence of that heat dome. It's sinking dry air, so it zaps rain chances, zaps clouds out of the atmosphere, and this time of the year can make things very, very hot and very uncomfortable. The center back to the four corners by Friday, but again, we're still under its influence, so we stay very hot as we head into the end of the work week and through the weekend. Temperatures going into Wednesday afternoon, 99 Midland, Del Rio 101. These are high temps in the afternoon. San Antonio 101, Dallas 107, Houston 102. So we are going to cook on Wednesday. We go into Wednesday night, Thursday morning, lows in the 70s to 80s. Houston near 80, low in Dallas 86, low near 80 Del Rio, Lubbock a morning low of 74, El Paso 82, Brownsville 82 in the morning. And then Thursday afternoon, it's back off to the races. 101 in Lubbock, Del Rio 102, San Antonio 103, Dallas 109, the forecast high Thursday afternoon. Looks like this is going to be the hottest week, at least stretch a few days that we've had so far this summer. And rain chances are just about zero. Wednesday afternoon, really nothing. Even El Paso, maybe some showers in the mountains of New Mexico and down toward New Orleans, but not in Texas. Wednesday evening, I stopped it here because those little West Texas thunder shower may be able to develop as we head towards sunset, Lubbock, Amarillo. It's unlikely, but it's not out of the question. Thursday morning, not much. There's a little boundary up here, not showing any type of significant shower chance, Lubbock, Amarillo. Thursday afternoon, again, rain chances about 0. Watch right here. Again, it could be Thursday late afternoon and evening. We get a thunder shower up here on the plateau, but that is going to be about it. Drought update, actually overall, Texas doing pretty good. A lot of the state not in drought at all. Some dry from Dallas to San Antonio to Laredo, but huge improvements from earlier this year. Clearly, though, the Texas Panhandle, Amarillo up to Borger, significant drought conditions continue there. Big picture, temperature outlook, warmer than normal, as expected. Texas, 24th through the 28th. And as far as rainfall, looking ahead, 24th through the 28th, we stay drier than normal. And quite often, it is the tropics that this time of year brings relief or breaks a big heat wave. But as we look out here in the Gulf, the Caribbean, the open Atlantic, nothing doing. And the Hurricane Center says no development here for the next 7 days. Continue to take the tropical update one day at a time. All right, Texas, that's where we stand.
I'm Isis Romero, and this is the news in San Antonio. One man is dead and another is injured after police say 3 gunmen opened fire on a Northwest Side apartment Tuesday morning. KEN's 5 Simone Simpson spoke with a neighbor who heard the gunshots.
The shooting went down just after midnight Tuesday at the Woodhill Apartments up there. I spoke with one woman who said the shooting was so close that she checked her unit to make sure the walls were not penetrated by bullets.
It sounded like a semi-automatic, and the full clip was emptied because it did sound like the 10 shots.
Bullets rang out of this complex on the 4900 block of Woodstone Drive around 12:10 Tuesday morning. Police say a black Toyota 4Runner pulled into the complex parking lot before 3 men got out and opened fire toward an apartment in Building 18. 2 people inside were struck.
I felt scared. I checked inside my apartment to see if I had bullet holes, since it is next to me, like behind me. Didn't have any.
Police say an 18-year-old man was shot in the ankle but was in stable condition when he was taken to University Hospital. A second man wasn't so lucky. Between the ages of 18 and 25, he was shot in the torso and rushed to the hospital in critical condition, where he later died. Investigators found shell casings from both a handgun and a long rifle outside the building.
It's not rare that cops show up here, but it's rare to hear like gunshots. It's fairly quiet here.
The suspects drove off in the black SUV, which police later found abandoned. Investigators said the vehicle had been reported stolen. SAPD detectives are working to find out what led up to the shooting and looking for those 3 gunmen. I'm Simone Simpson, reporting from the Northwest Side.
A local priest is now excommunicated after the Archdiocese of San Antonio declared him guilty of rejecting the authority of the Pope and the Catholic Church. According to Archbishop Gustavo Garcia Siller, the priest publicly referred to Pope Francis and Pope Leo as usurpers. Rania Kaur shares what both sides had to say.
John Mary Foster has served as priest at the Mission of Divine Mercy in Canyon Lake. Following accusations of schism, a trial was held. The tribunal included 3 judges, a promoter of justice, and an advocate for Foster. More than a year was spent receiving evidence before Foster was ultimately found guilty of schism. That's described as a break in unity and refusal to follow the Pope. According to the Archdiocese, not only did the former priest publicly refer to Pope Francis and Pope Leo as usurpers, but he also repeatedly claimed Pope Leo is not a true pope. The Archdiocese says he was offered countless opportunities to repent and to stop these teachings, but refused. For this, he was laicized, which means he was dismissed as clergy and is now considered a layman. In a video response, Foster explains that he takes these penalties very seriously, but also feels they're unfair.
We believe this sentence and these punishments are unjust. But we also believe the Lord is not asking us to appeal them. And we believe that given the crisis the church is facing, God is asking me to continue my priestly ministry.
Foster is also doubling down on his criticisms of the papacy, saying both he and the Mission of Divine Mercy agree that both Pope Leo and Pope Francis caused, quote, destruction to the church. Rania Kaur, KEN's 5.
When kids come into contact with other kids, injuries can happen. As kids get back to campus, back to school injuries may be more common. Jeremy Baker explains.
Back to school injuries most often involve playground falls, sports injuries, and heavy backpack strain. Knowing how to deal with each and every accident is key to helping your student cram for class while helping them put their best foot forward safely.
I see a lot of collisions, a lot of kids on kid kind of collision kind of things. Seems to be like the most common actually things, or they just fall funny during gym.
With any kind of injury involving an open cut, many of us would reach for hydrogen peroxide or rubbing alcohol, but that is a no-no.
When really what you should be cleaning the wound with is soap and water. That is really actually the best way to clean a wound. When you start putting alcohol or iodine or hydroperoxide, you actually are damaging the healthy tissue in around that wound that's going to help get it better.
As a parent, when do you know it's serious enough to require medical attention?
Obviously, if they're not acting right, they can't stop crying, it won't stop bleeding, the skin looks open, they won't use a limb, or it looks bent or swollen or very heavily bruised, that should be checked out rather immediately.
But before they get injured, preparation is key too, starting with hydration.
Have a glass of water by the child's bed in the morning and just have them just start the day off with a little hydration and then end the school day with hydration, because what actually happens in school is highly variable.
And making sure your child is being finicky with what's on their feet is a for sure.
You want to get something with some tread and stays on your feet. That's number one for safety at a playground.
For more about how to keep your kids safe when they slip at school, just head to this story on KENS5.com. From the city's northwest side, Jeremy Baker, KENS 5.
Well, a little shopper was looking for a moving deal at Walmart. A calf named Mudini was spotted wandering through a parking lot off Southeast Military Drive. San Antonio police and animal care officers herded him out of traffic, but he hoofed it into a drainage tunnel. After a brief underground rest, officers safely moved the young Angus and loaded him into a livestock trailer. And that's the news in San Antonio.
I'm Darrenisha Heron with your headlines from around the Austin area. A man is recovering after Hutto police say a stranger attacked him with a hatchet inside a Home Depot. Police responded Friday night to the store off of West Highway 79. Medics took the man to the hospital with some serious injuries. He's now recovering at home. Police arrested 41-year-old John Bauer. He is facing an aggravated assault charge. Pflugerville police are searching for a suspect after a shooting near Pecan Street and Heather Wild Boulevard Monday night. Police say a man was hurt and taken to a hospital with injuries that are not life-threatening. Investigators say this was an isolated incident and there is no threat to the public. 2 months after the murder of an Austin mother, her family is making a move to get more eyes on the case and to find her killer. So far, no one has been caught. Pictures of the victim, Francesca Ortiz, will be featured on billboards. Now, as Jose Alonso reports, her loved ones are hoping this move and a bigger reward will do the trick.
While driving down I-35 in Buda, you can see a face in the sky.
Just seeing her picture is beautiful. Hopefully someone says something and brings something forward, some information.
40-year-old Francesca Ortiz, also known as Frenchie, has a family still looking for answers and increasing the reward money for information leading to an arrest.
It went up to $5,000 because we need help, we need answers, any leads, like anything. So we've not been doing good. We're still hurting a lot.
Her body was found at the Waters at Bluff Springs apartment complex in Southeast Austin on June 17th. And 2 months later, police are still investigating her death.
We don't know nothing. What she was doing out there, if she was meeting anybody, we don't know. We just need anything.
APD publicly shared this surveillance video of Ortiz to show what she looked like just before her death. Her family is now using the most recent pictures of her on digital billboards like this one in Buda, right outside of Travis County.
The family was also able to secure a second digital billboard to be put up asking the public for help along Highway 71 in Bastrop County.
There's more hope, like I think this is it. I think this is going to be the piece that where somebody's going to see it and go, hey, I remember what happened.
Linda Foraker continues to wear this ribbon that says #Justice for Frenchie. She misses the friend she believes was trying to find comfort in life.
We met Francesca doing the bus ministry. At the time she was 19, 20 years old. She had just had her firstborn, Seneca, and so she wanted to kind of like get that void feel that she was missing.
Ortiz is a mother, sister, friend, and many other titles to this group of grieving Austinites, left wondering what happened. In Buda, Jose Alonso, KVUE News.
Jose, thank you. We're hearing from inside Texas prisons as another summer of extreme heat takes its toll. In letters sent from behind prison walls, people incarcerated describe what they're enduring without air conditioning. KVUE's Allison Hills shares their words as the state faces an ongoing legal battle over conditions inside.
As the sun continues to beat down, the temperature in Texas prison cells continues to rise, with many facing another summer without AC.
In the Constitution, it says, no cruel and unusual punishment, and we believe these type of extreme temperatures are.
And from inside, letters are making their way out.
This is another letter from an incarcerated member. She is housed at the Lane Murray unit. She says, "Thank you all for the encouragement. We are dealing with the heat exhaustion on this unit as well. The officers get mad at us for trying to block the sun from getting in, but I personally am having headaches and my energy is depleted just from baking in these cells."
The words aren't Jennifer Toone's, but the experience is familiar. Toone spent years incarcerated in Texas prisons without AC too. Now she's hearing from women still inside.
This is from one of our incarcerated members at the Hobby Unit, which is located in Marlin, Texas. She said, "We aren't being offered respite at all. Can't cover windows to try and get some relief from the sun because we get cases or we're threatened with cases."
The Texas Department of Criminal Justice declined KVUE's request for comment, citing pending litigation. A federal judge is weighing the case after a trial this spring over extreme heat in Texas prisons. The state says it's adding AC and using other measures to protect people from the heat, but estimates fully air conditioning the system could cost about $1.5 billion. A final ruling has not yet been issued, but for Toone, the debate over cost and policy comes back to the people writing these letters, who she says are waiting for something more permanent than relief from the next hot day.
The heat is real. It has been that hot this summer, and it will only continue to get hotter, and my hope is that no one else will get sick and die before we get a ruling and we get real sustainable, permanent solutions and remedies installed.
As of August 1st, the TDCJ reported more than 52,000 air-conditioned or cooled beds, with more than 40,000 others either under construction or in the planning and purchasing process. The legislature also approved another $118 million for prison air conditioning last year, and the TDCJ says that will eventually bring the system to more than 80,000 air-conditioned beds. Tens of thousands of Austin ISD students had their first day of school on Tuesday. Superintendent Mateus Segura stopped by Casey Elementary in South Austin as kids were being dropped off. He greeted students, spoke with parents, and checked in with the community about the year ahead. We spoke to one family who's starting at Casey after their former school, Becker Elementary, closed as part of AISD's recent campus consolidations.
Yeah, this is our first year here. We were in one of the schools that closed down last year, and we're very excited to be here and very grateful for the opportunity to continue our bilingual education. It's important for our heritage connection.
Some parents tell us they have concerns about the district's new transportation hubs for high school students. Some worry about how their kids will get there safely. Superintendent Segura says AISD police will help monitor the hubs when possible. And on Monday night, Georgetown ISD's Board of Trustees unanimously approved the addition of an operations funding election to the November 3rd ballot. According to the district, the measure would provide additional revenue for teacher and staff compensation, student programs, instructional support, and required services. District leaders say Prop A could generate more than $8 million in additional revenue. If voters approve the plan, district leaders estimate the typical homeowner in Georgetown ISD would pay an extra $7.92 per year in property taxes. That's all from us here in Austin. I'm Darrenisha Heron.
I'm Mike Gillespie in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's making news in South Texas. In Rockport, a city council member has been found not guilty for the assault of an outspoken community member. Councilman Brad Brundrett had been accused of assaulting Andrew Kane after a city budget workshop back in September. While surveillance video appears to show Brundrett grabbing and pushing him into a row of chairs during an argument over property taxes, he claimed that Brundrett threatened him after he accused city leaders of lying to residents. After hearing the case, the court cleared Brundrett of any charges. Corpus Christi City Council member Kaylin Paxson led her second council meeting as mayor pro tem, a day after getting the all clear to keep her job in another Coastal Bend city. Paxson, who is now running for Corpus Christi mayor, also works as an economic development consultant for Aransas Pass. Well, city leaders there had questioned whether that role conflicted with her position on Corpus Christi's city council. Ultimately, no conflict of interest was found, and Paxson's contract with Aransas Pass will continue. Well, national funds are now on the way for local law enforcement here in the Coastal Bend. U.S. Senator John Cornyn announcing that the U.S. Department of Justice awarded over $200,000 in federal grant funding to both the city of Corpus Christi and Nueces County. Now, that funding will help to upgrade technology and strengthen public safety efforts. Well, it is certainly a moment that every graduate works toward, hearing your name called and finally walking across the stage. But for one Islander University student, that moment came 14 years later than expected. And she didn't do it alone. As Bill Churchwell shows us, her younger sister made sure of that.
Behind every applause and every smile, a story of late nights and determination.
She's come a long way, a really long way.
For Adriana Guerra and her younger sister Gabriela, somewhere in those few steps across the stage was a story 14 years in the making.
I was like choking back tears.
For Adriana, this was a moment she never thought she'd get. You see, she earned her degree back in 2012, but tragedy would prevent her from walking the stage.
We were just going through life. Me graduating, my sister Nadia starting Del Mar College to become a nurse. I mean, everything was just going in life, and then all of a sudden it was just at a halt.
Her sister Nadia was killed in a car crash that morning.
This is actually one of my favorite pictures of us.
The three sisters had grown up inseparable.
And she just marched to the beat of her own drum, so much so that, till this day it inspires me.
So after Nadia died, the sisters started asking a simple question.
And I always just think what would Nadia do? How would Nadia, how would Nadia overcome this?
A question that helped shape the life they built.
It was a lot of hard work.
Gabriella chose medical laboratory science after remembering her sister's dream of becoming a nurse. Adriana opening her home to her sister and dog.
If there was something I could give back to her, because she's helped me in so many ways.
So when Gabriella's graduation got closer, she thought about the sister who had already done that hard work of earning a degree, but never got her day.
And the fact that she never got her day just kind of it just didn't sit right with me.
She started making calls, sending an email, and taking a chance.
And she said, this could happen. And I was just blown away by her thought process of including me in completing her dream.
The answer from the university was yes. And this weekend, Adriana put on the same cap and gown she would have worn all those years ago, finally receiving her moment.
14 years later, she's sitting there with me, everything like that. It was a very beautiful moment.
But they wouldn't be alone.
It has her picture and everything like that, so She was here in every single way possible.
And make the day more beautiful knowing that.
Bill Churchwell reporting. Hey, that is a quick look at some of what's making news in South Texas.
Hi, I'm Brennan Gurley, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas. Smith County could soon have more space to house federal inmates. Commissioners gave the sheriff's office the green light on Tuesday to apply for a federal grant that would upgrade part of the North Jail. But as CBS 19's Jesus Martinez shared, some are questioning the long-term costs and impact of the plan.
This is the Smith County North Jail facility. It is a low-risk facility, and right now they have about 96 vacant beds. And today, the Smith County Commissioner's Court let the Sheriff's Office apply for a grant that would upgrade this facility up to a medium risk, and it all has to do with the 287G program.
Motion carries. Thank you a lot, Chief.
The Sheriff's Office is asking for $6 million from the federal government. The money would be used to occupy those existing cells, allowing the county to house more federal inmates.
If we upgrade the low-risk cells, then we could actually house an additional 50 federal prisoners, which would be additional revenue for the county.
Chief Deputy Gary Pinkerton says the county already houses on average about 60 federal inmates, which the chief deputy says is less than surrounding counties.
The government pays us to house those inmates for them until they go to trial.
He says putting the empty beds to use could also take some pressure off the county's downtown jail.
So this year, not having it in front of me, I would say we probably brought in about $750,000 in housing, Bureau of Prison and federal inmates.
Commissioner Christina Drury questioned the potential cost of adding more inmates.
Associated with this, more beds means more medical. There's certain things that we need to consider for future planning.
As we talk about federal inmates, the income that generates for Smith County.
Pinkerton says that income this year alone will be $1 million.
Versus a cost very insignificant to that.
Yes, sir.
But not everyone supports the move. Delilah Reynoso with the Texas Jail Project says the county needs to think about what happens after the federal money is gone.
This money will run out, and when it runs out, whether it's in a year or two, who will pick up that cost? Who will absorb those costs?
Well, Pinkerton said that the grant is just for the upgrades. The beds are already there, and the federal government will pay the county for housing federal inmates. Now, the changes won't be happening immediately. The Sheriff's Office told me it could take up to 36 months to even hear back if they got approved. In Smith County, I'm Jesus Martinez.
This summer, the city of Tyler surveyed nearly 95 miles of sidewalks and trails, collecting information on curb ramps, intersections, and transit stops to help identify accessibility barriers with the help of robots, also known as DAXbots. CBS 19's Emily Trevino shows us what happens with all that information now.
For some people, something as simple as an uneven sidewalk, a hard-to-see crosswalk, or an obstacle in the way can make getting around Tyler a lot more difficult. That's where these little robots came in.
Next steps will be to bring that data to the board, and we can start discussing what it'll look like as far as the plans.
They're called DAXbots, and you may have seen them rolling around earlier this summer. They were basically sidewalk inspectors on wheels, collecting information about sidewalks, trails, intersections, and other public spaces.
It is helpful to benchmark where we are with our ADA compliance.
For many living with disabilities, their environment changing to fit their needs is a win.
Combination of those things becoming inherently accessible with the training that we provide is really when we're going to see the most success.
Alicia Lansford works with East Texas Lighthouse for the Blind, an organization that helps those with vision impairments. She hopes the city also considers smaller details like contrasting colors, different textures, and clearer signs that can help people with low vision or those using a cane.
Until we get some of that technology and until we kind of catch up with that, then our training is only as good as the environment in which our person is let loose in.
The city says the next phase of the ADA transition plan will involve the Disability Issues Review Board and community members. The goal is to identify the highest priority needs and develop a long-term plan for addressing them.
We could say we know that the projects we are working on, this is going to have the greatest benefit to our community because we have heard from them.
The updated ADA transition plan is to be adopted in early 2027. In Tyler, Emily Trevino, CBS 19.
And that's a wrap of your East Texas headlines. I'm Brennan Gurley.
I'm Bailey Bates. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. 2 Fort Hood soldiers were killed in last week's Apache helicopter crash near Salado. And now support is pouring in from both the Central Texas community and the Army aviation family. Our Juliana Jackson shows us how people are stepping up to help.
There's a misconception that a lot of this occurs during combat. We've lost 51 people since 2019 doing this, and only a couple of those have actually been in a deployed environment. The rest have been stateside. So that's
Spencer Payne says the Blue Skies Foundation started in 2019 with a mission to support the Army aviation community and Gold Star families after fatal aviation mishaps.
Army aircraft goes down and one of the crew members, whether that's a pilot or a crew member in the back, takes their final flight. We work with the command chain and the casualty assistance officers to get approval from the families to provide what we call immediate casualty assistance.
Fort Hood says the 2 soldiers who died were 34-year-old Chief Warrant Officer 2 DeAndre Huey of Killeen and 25-year-old Warrant Officer Seth Olmstead of Belton. They were conducting a routine maintenance test flight when their unit went down. Huey graduated from Killeen High School and Olmstead from Harker Heights High School, a tragedy felt by the entire Central Texas community.
Replace, losing a spouse or a father, or a son or daughter or whatever, but it's a visible need that we can assist with.
The foundation is building a scholarship program for Gold Star children, helping with college, trade school, or even flight school. It's also building a network of Gold Star spouses who can connect with newly grieving families.
There's many ways to get involved, whether it's through donations, through meals, through word of mouth. You can reach out to us if you have ideas as well. This is we're coming together as a community, and we'll continue to support these families.
The Blue Skies Foundation says 100% of the money raised through this effort will go to the families. To Waco now, where Governor Greg Abbott was stopping by to announce a new teacher-led initiative. His plan is aimed at improving reading and math performance and putting Texas on a path to becoming the #1 state for educating children. The governor also outlined a proposal to give parents more tools to help struggling students at home. Here's our Adrian Carbajal.
Governor Greg Abbott brought his education agenda to Waco Monday, announcing his new initiative, the Texas Classroom Commission.
And I made clear that the time has come for Texas to set its sights on another #1 ranking. Texas must rank #1 in educating our children.
Abbott said the commission will bring together more than 20 current and former public school educators from across Texas to develop recommendations for the governor, the Texas Education Agency, and state lawmakers. Abbott said one of the biggest priorities will be making sure students master 2 foundational subjects, reading and math.
The Texas Classroom Teacher Commission has a multi-purpose mission. #1 is to make sure that we're doing everything possible to improve reading and math for our students. Mastering reading and math is absolutely essential to academic success.
Abbott also announced plans to push for legislation creating student success academies for reading and math. The programs would help identify students who are struggling, show parents where the child stands, and provide resources to help them at home.
The Texas Education Agency will provide parents with a toolkit to help with their students' reading at home. The TEA will also provide a 1-page roadmap for parents that explains where the student is in the process, what support the school is providing, what resources are available, and what parents can do at home to help their child improve.
The commission will also look at ways to recruit and retain high-quality teachers and reduce screen time in classrooms. Abbott says more time spent interacting with teachers and other students can help improve academic performance.
The Texas Classroom Commission will begin its work in the coming weeks and is expected to deliver its recommendations before the start of the 90th legislative session. Abbott says the ultimate goal is to make Texas the #1 ranked state in education. Those are your headlines from Texas.